So I've been hesitant, shall we say, to dip my toe into the cacophony of leftist drama because I haven't really been a part of it ever since 2016 when I dropped out of college, and I really abandoned that scene and started thinking for myself and going on my own rants and ravings about different topics, but always at a different angle and always not based on ideology, but sticking to my core, my gut instinct plus logic. There's this entity who thrives on the internet known as VAUSH. VAUSH. I kind of wanted to avoid this character as a concept for a video, but here we are, and Jimmy Dore is, of course, the subject of his attack, because there's no one better to attack than other leftists. It's easier for them to attack their own than it is for them to attack anybody else.
Their people, what we are doing to our people during COVID.
Nice. More Tucker Carlson. Just such an ally to the left. Jimmy Dore and Glenn Greenwald and bunch. Man, I love these.
First of all, Glenn Greenwald is a great journalist. I don't really care about Jimmy Dore. Anyway, this video by VAUSH is called Jimmy Dore's either an idiot or an enemy. Probably both. Hyperbole much. What he goes on Tucker Carlson, now he's a Nazi. Is this the line of bullshit that you're going with, VAUSH? You can't talk to anybody on the right wing, even if. And this is the thing, this is the interesting thing I found in these segments. I've actually watched a couple of these Tucker Carlson segments out of curiosity, and I hope that doesn't make me a fascist, but Jimmy Dore doesn't really debate Tucker Carlson. They don't really have a conversation. It's just Jimmy ranting and raving for 5 minutes, or however long the segment goes, about pretty much whatever he wants, and Tucker just stares emptily into the abyss.
Who considers Dore to be left? I don't know. Ask Brianna Joy Gray.
Every other country's making sure their workers, if they shut...
I'm pretty sure he's left by default. If you go... I won't speak for him, but that's what you're trying to do. He's not what he says he is. Dude, I think when it comes to politics, you can pretty much make a case for being anything you want to be. You know, for all this leftist identity hysterics and all this, we have to preach acceptance, bro. If you want to call yourself a multi-gender neutral foxhound, whatever the fuck, oh, go ahead and do that. Oh, but if you say you're a leftist, oh look, you got to pass the test. You got to meet all the fucking criteria, and that criteria keeps changing based on my predilections because I am the mighty VAUSH. I have the roughest brain in the galaxy. Jesus.
Shut their business down, gets their wages paid. That's Canada's been getting a $2,000 UBI since COVID started. Plus, they already have healthcare. People in the United States do not know that this is the only country handling it this way. We are punishing our own people, and nobody can give me an answer. We are fighting over a one-time $2,000 check, not a weekly, not a monthly, not a one-time $2,000 check, as if rent only happens once every year instead of it happening monthly. So we are living in a failed state. When Donald Trump got elected, they wanted to talk about Russia and Vladimir Putin instead of the reason why Donald Trump got elected was because the government had abandoned working people, and it turned its...
God, Dore is such a fucking idiot. Jesus Christ. First of all...
So that wasn't leftist. Let's just make this clear. We'll let VAUSH talk. What Jimmy was saying there sounded pretty lefty to me.
The whole reason COVID is so fucked right now in America is because of Trump. It's because of the Republican administration. You're coming on here talking to the foremost Republican disinfo presenter, talking as though liberalism was what did this? Are you fucking kidding me? Look, I have my critiques too.
That's not what he said. You're making a totally separate argument, VAUSH. You're talking about COVID, and I agree. Trump totally bungled that. I think any rational person would agree with that statement. But Jimmy just made the argument that the government had abandoned the working class. That's a much larger subject than what you're talking about. You're trying to minimize or change the context of whatever the subtext of what, the text, period.
Not a huge liberal fan, but it was undeniably the Trump administration. But that's what Jimmy Dore does. That's all Jimmy Dore does. No actual analysis. He'll lie if he needs to. Everything has to come back to how the Democrats are bad. Because
where's the lie on that? Vaush, I'm not the biggest liberal fan. Oh, nothing is the Democrats' fault. Pick a side. I think he already has. I think this guy's a shill for the DNC.
Jimmy Dore is not an ally, not
slug.
to the left and not even to the Democrats. Jimmy Dore is an ally to nothing other than vacuum-headed 60 IQ populists who unironically...
Bro, I know you're trying to entertain your audience of bread-winning communists here, but...
Tucker Carlson, who has in leaked statements admitted that whenever he sees two...
Vaush is just butthurt that Jimmy won't come on his show, but instead will go on Tucker, who has a much larger audience. This is really coming off like high school shit, dude.
Hey, Jimmy Dore does not give a single shit about progressive reform. He has never given a single shit about progressive reform. His investment in populism begins and ends at whatever allows him to buy his next mansion, okay? Jimmy Dore, who said that...
Yeah, that's cap, by the way. I had this article shoved in my face before where it's just like, look at Jimmy Dore's mansion. Dude, if you've been on the California coastline... all the houses look like that. I'm not going to show it because that would be invasive. That was literally like fucking TMZ level shit to begin with. He's not even like a real celebrity and you're fucking... You're posting his private property on social media. It's like, that ain't cool, dog. But even so, yeah, it's a nice house. But it's not like a fucking mansion.
AOC had abandoned the working people because she wouldn't show up to his fucking Zoom conference call on how they needed to force the vote. Jimmy Dore, who freaked the fuck out about AOC because she wouldn't come on his program anymore, but who was very willing to immediately make excuses for Tulsi after Tulsi said she no longer supported Medicare for all. Jimmy Dore, who said he was responsible for AOC's success. Jimmy Dore, the ego-ridden... I unironically wonder if he has brain cancer, because his behavior is so inexplicably ego-driven to me. But the only people stupider than Jimmy Dore... I'm sorry, the only individuals, the only creatures capable of sinking below the festering depths at which this troglodyte rests are Jimmy Dore fans. Because you have to be some kind of filth to watch Jimmy Dore and unironically think this motherfucker cares about you. You have to be dog shit on the soul of a shit.
And you do? You do, Vaush? You really care about people? Dude, I bet Vaush the type of... He's the type of... Can't say it. He's the type of nigga to fucking ride up down the highway ramp where the bums are begging for change, and he just stares straight ahead, and instead of being like, here, man, here's some fucking change from my car and shit, because he's like, I don't want to get shot because of gun violence. And then he just stares ahead and be like, the system which caused this systemic poverty is just too overbearing, and it's like you're trying to like think your way out of your individual responsibility. I do the same shit. That's how I know that he does it.
To be capable of looking up at this man and thinking, yeah, this guy's got my best interests in mind. He's totally left-leaning.
Why would you expect anybody you don't even know to have your own interests at heart? That makes no sense. The reality is nobody cares about you in the abstract.
He crams every single cultural and political narrative into the idea that, hey, the Democrats are bad, funnel your energy into either their opposition or completely ineffectual virtue-signaling counter alternatives that do absolutely nothing. The height of this was when he had...
So basically, Vaush is projecting a whole lot here, because what he's saying, essentially, either opposition, which Jimmy Dore's not. He's not a Republican, never has been. He acknowledges that it's a two-party failed state, with two parties, which are actually one party. He makes this point again and again. But then the alternative would be, like third parties and shit like that, like the People's Party, which is starting to be organized. Do not start third parties. This is the, do not start third parties Democrat talking here. VAUSH is seriously, he's just a Democrat. He is the most obvious wolf in sheep's clothing I've ever seen. His wool could not be any more, falling apart.
Multi-day, panel conference thing, pressing for force the vote, and you know what? The final day of that conference took place after the point in time where Pelosi was appointed House Speaker. The day after. Now explain to me what the point is of a advocacy push which goes on past the point where the thing you're trying to advocate for took place. Oh, but he bought a new mansion recently. Ah, but he distinguished himself.
This guy is just seething that he can't get a mansion himself. This guy is seething. It's not even a mansion. It's highly exaggerated. It's a nice fucking house, but I've seen actual mansions. Dude, this guy's a fucking comedian who makes money mainly on the internet. I could not think of a more passionate example of being pro-Medicare for all than Jimmy Dore based on his medical story, which, it's just a fact. That is what it is. You can't take that away from him. So I find it very disingenuous.
Jimmy Dore, a man so passionate about progressivism that he'll call Alexandria Ocasio-Cortez a piece of shit, a traitor, a liar.
Because she is.
Judas for disagreeing.
What has she done? That's my question. You can say what... you call people pieces of shit every day, VAUSH. Really? You're going to tell me there's no reason to insult Democratic politicians for sitting on their fat asses, taking your money to get reelected, and doing nothing? Doing nothing but, we're gonna write a letter to... It'll get nothing done.
Strategy, even when Jimmy Dore admits that his strategy wouldn't work, but likes Tucker Carlson, an ally of the left.
What's this idea that you have to be an ally of the left in order to have any good ideas? Can't you just accept that Jimmy's ideas, the main ones, Medicare for all, free college, whatever, the things that he actually pushes for, sure, on right-wing channels, you can think what you want about that. But if you were more for these ideas, wouldn't you want them to get as far out as possible? And the argument against that is well, no, it's gonna somehow excuse the fascist remarks of Tucker Carlson's. No, you have a better chance of changing their minds if your logic is superior. So why would you say that because Tucker Carlson has inferior logic, he gets to somehow sway leftists to his side? That must mean your ideas are not so good. I think whoever has the better ideas and the better reach wins. This has been proven throughout history. If it takes Fox News to get that message across, about the $2,000 checks, to get the $2,000 fucking checks, then do that. I don't care. He's doing more than fucking AOC has ever done. She's been working on the inside. On the inside, we're just supposed to take her word for it that she's been fighting. But where's the fight? I haven't seen it. All I've seen is Twitch streams. She's on Twitch, showing her tits, whatever the fuck she does. I don't know. Fucking OnlyFans. She doesn't do dick except, we're going to form a committee of a committee of a committee. There's 5 different committees. And none of it gets done because they're all infiltrated by, you guessed it, the corporate Democrats. And, if you're in the same party as the corporate Democrats and you still call yourself a Democrat, that was fine in 2016 when Bernie Sanders ran the first time. I was willing to accept that. But that is a ticking clock before you become one with them. What have they done to fundamentally change the Democratic Party? Nothing. Name me one fucking thing, VAUSH, that has actually improved. The Democrats have done the progressive Democrats have done to improve the lives of Americans in the past 5 years since Bernie Sanders ran the first time. He lost twice. And every progressive who's won, they've had time, their own time, in their own positions to do something, to work some sort of legislation, to get their huge fan base out around it. They could have gotten protesters out for a direct policy. Not just, oh, the fucking pussy hats, oh, Green New Deal. No, it's about the minutia, the detail of the policy. You know this, Vosh. You're not stupid. The left is all about, yeah, man, sexuality's so fluid, gender is so fluid. You call yourself a fucking potato if that's what you want. But if it comes to the ideological identity, then it's whatever we say. It's whatever the Democratic Party says about you. If they say you're a terrorist, then you must be a terrorist. You say you're a fascist and a rapist, and then, you know, judge and jury is out on this one. Convicted.
They take care of Wall Street and they screw everybody else. And that's exactly, as a matter of policy, that's what they're doing with COVID. When they shut down everybody's business who has a restaurant or a gym or a bar, and they shut them down and they have no relief for those people, they have decided that effectively...
Hey, whose job is it to have provided relief for the first 10 months of this pandemic? Who was president? He will not, in this segment, once impugn Donald Trump. Not once.
Because
Biden
Vosh, Donald Trump is no longer president. And you wouldn't expect Trump to do that either. You expect the Republicans to be shitty as a leftist. You would not expect your own party, the Democrats, the progressive Democrats no less, to be just as useless, just as ineffective when they have power. So my question to you, Vosh, personally, is this. You said, well, force the vote. Okay, that wasn't the right time, whatever. So how much longer do we have to wait for the $2,000 checks before it's okay to criticize the Democrats? How much longer do we have to wait for a Medicare for All bill before it's okay to criticize AOC and Joe Biden and all of them for not doing jack shit for the people?
As a policy, they're going to kill a third of the economy with no plan to help those people. And we had protests all through the summer by black people, and what did they get for it? Nothing. And then we have white people also protesting. What did they get for it? Nothing. They can't even get them a check, but they did impeach a guy who wasn't even...
Wait, what? Wait, why are we bringing up race in protest of COVID?
Vosh of all people. Why are we bringing up race into a conversation that has nothing to do with it? Come on, man. You know what he's talking about. Black Lives Matter versus Trump. It's like LBJ said. You tell the worst white man he's better than the best black man, he'll start feeling better.
President anymore. That was amazing. They could snap their fingers and do an impeachment, and we're still waiting for COVID relief.
Yeah. Do you know how the system works? Are you familiar? You do realize how many COVID relief bills have passed through the House, right?
This is his point, Vosh. Do you know how the system works? Seriously, have you had any actual experience in government? Have you ever had a government job ever? For you to know how the system works? Look, the point is, Jimmy Dore's point, is that the system is not working.
You do know that multiple COVID relief bills have passed through the House, much the same way that the impeachment vote did, and then they die in the Senate, much like the impeachment conviction did. But he doesn't know how politics work. I legitimately do not think that he understands. Oh, we have a dumb fucking chat. Good.
We're not playing politics, though. When you're desperate, when your people are starving and don't have jobs, what do you expect? You expect people to go, oh, let's play our cards. Let's see what the best fucking... Let's wait another 8 months. We can't wait any longer.
But somebody to vent my antagonism out. Aaron Primick I vehemently disagree with your stance on Jimmy Dore, VAUSH. Whatever happened to holding politicians' feet to the fire? That's not holding politicians' feet to the fire, you fucking moron. I'm sorry, I'm tired of taking these claims seriously. First of all, if you actually look at any of the behind-the-scenes discourse on the Force the Vote types, they admit that they know there's absolutely no potential that Force the Vote would have actually gotten Medicare for all.
Not about getting passed, it's about holding their feet to the fire, as your commenter so gently pointed out, in which you proceeded to call him a fucking moron. But that's neither here nor there. That's precisely what it's about. It's about exposing them so that the people will see that they are not good leaders, in which case you would need to democratically replace them. Just like AOC did with the guy she was running against in New York. I can't recall his name, but you know who he was. You just need to do that again and again and again, and you do that by pushing these extremist votes, extremists for DC, not for us, but for DC. You keep doing that until you get somebody who's going to say, okay, I'm going to push this no matter what. AOC's not going to do it. Ilhan Omar's not going to do it. They're actresses. They're cucks. They're idiots. Name me one fucking useful policy that they've gotten passed in like the 2.5 years now they've been in office. All they've done is get the money to get reelected. This is what this Twitter warrior shit is about. It's about getting the money to get reelected. It's all clout. But VAUSH, oh no, you can't criticize the AOC, bro. Oh my god, AOC, oh, I'm coming. Dude, she's not gonna fuck you. I don't care how much you simp for AOC.
People who said they'd support it, but actually don't support it. Which is meaningless. You want to talk about holding people's feet to the fire, but then you advocate for the most meaningless virtue.
Is it meaningless, or you don't know how politics works then? You don't know how politics works. If people see that their congressman or senator voted against this bill, it's a house of cards, VAUSH. It falls apart because, I don't know if you know this, 70% of America, including Republicans, are for Medicare for all. The establishment is clearly not. Okay, fine. But you know the game, VAUSH. It's a people's game. It is not an inside game. You, my friend, do not understand shit about politics.
You're not holding anybody's feet to the fire if your plan is stupid, okay? If Jimmy Dore came on there drooling, as always, frothing into his microphone like the fucking simian that he is, screaming that AOC betrayed her campaign promises but not eating...
I'm not going to argue on this point. Jimmy Dore is a fucking hack comedian. I say that with respect to his activism. I like his passion. I think if he had jokes, he'd be a lot more successful. If he had jokes to supplement his anger. And I do think whatever. He's a fucking narcissist. Whatever. Who isn't? God damn it. You just don't like his style. You're arguing over taste at this point. And I'm not going to go there. It's not what this is about.
Pigeon shit by not licking pigeon shit off the railings outside the fucking steps of the congressional building, the Capitol building? Do you think that like she's like, no, I'm not gonna do that actually? And Jimmy Dore fans, why won't you? You said you would. You said you would follow the will of the people. The will of the people is that you eat pigeon shit. And then people like you run about screaming that she's not doing her due diligence. What? AOC's job is not to kowtow to whatever dumb fuck grifty scheme loser YouTubers like Jimmy Dore have in their heads. And
her job is not to kowtow to Jimmy Dore. Her job is to kowtow to the Democratic Party.
Her job is to make the country better, which she does in large part because she's smarter than you. So maybe you should shut up and learn from her rather than assuming a fucking YouTuber's got her game.
And they named a post office today in the House of Representatives.
Sorry, we're going to be chill from now on. That was too much, and I'm dialing it down, okay? I'm sorry.
I hope Jimmy Dore runs for Congress, man, just so this fucking weasel gets triggered. And I certainly don't trust AOC. She's done nothing. What has she done for you? What has she done for anybody but herself? a committee assignment. Oh my god. Oh. Bitch, please.
Absolutely right about what's going on in other countries in terms of support, but to pretend that everybody, all these politicians are all on the same page, they all have the exact same agenda, they could impeach in the House. Well, they're also 2 days away from passing this COVID relief bill, and the impeachment, I would argue, would not argue.
Why wouldn't it? Why not sooner? I'll tell you why. Because they were all on vacation. It's not that they all have the same agenda, it's that they all have no agenda. The agenda is a facade. It's a paper tiger. It's fugazi. Fake. They run on the agenda, but when they get in there, they kick up their feet and say, okay, lobbyists, welcome to the club. Give me more money so that I can get elected again. And I think what's happening now is like the AOC and the rest are indirectly, if not directly, benefiting from that lobbyist money. And you know they are, because they're in the same party as the lobbyists. For fuck's sake, guys, this is not an episode of Clue.
Would inform him that it happened in the last session of Congress, before you could introduce this bill.
That is
because
true.
Had you done that, the Republicans who controlled the Senate would have killed it.
That is also true. You will never find Jimmy Dore criticizing the Republican Party for their role in any of this bad shit. Well, very rarely he does. But then he'll go on Tucker Carlson. Now, in my personal opinion, okay, is dude, unironically, Jimmy Dore makes me want to adopt Destiny's position on deplatforming people for misinformation, okay? Jimmy Dore, even if nothing that he said was flatly incorrect, which it was, he did lie plenty of times there, but even if it weren't for that, I still think that going on Tucker Carlson's show and implicitly suggesting that Democrats are the ones holding this process up is tantamount to journalistic malpractice. Not that he's a journalist or anything, but unironically, I actually think it's in that ballpark. I mean, how fucking brain-fucked do you have to be? Like, why would you give the Republicans that? Well, I'll answer, because Jimmy Dore is a Republican. He is. He is. He's a blue Republican, okay?
How long did it take you to grow that little mullet rat tail you got going there? You know who also sports that look? White supremacists. I'm not making any character attacks here, but little odd, don't you think?
He's a blue Republican. I'll say it right here, 100%.
Come on, man. Compared to, like, say, MSNBC, do you think MSNBC would ever have a guy like Jimmy Dore on to even talk about the idea of pushing Medicare for all? You got to think about, from that perspective, if you're a passionate leftist, if you're passionate about Medicare for all to the point that you're willing to go to the dark side to spread your message, you got to think, well, why not just go to CNN or MSNBC or back to the Young Turks? Oh yeah, they won't fucking have me. That's why. Duh. Why is that? Because they think I'm a Nazi. I'm not telling anybody who to talk to. I think that's unwise. I don't think it matters. I really don't.
Anything and everything he's ever done has been to the explicit service of Republican values. That's why the only candidate that he ever actually backed all of his fucking horse tokens on was Tulsi Gabbard, another blue Republican. Congratulations, you know? Tulsi Gabbard, who spent her last few weeks as a congresswoman pushing for trans women to be kept out of sports and for pro-life bills.
That is true. Tulsi is a fucking psycho cunt. She really is. I never liked Tulsi, except when she was body slamming Kamala Harris, which needed to be done, don't get me wrong, but I mean, the reason she's out of politics now is because, hey, she wants a private sector dough. I get it. Compared to what AOC's doing, she's playing it from the inside. She swore loyalty to the party, and I think Tulsi more or less decided that she wasn't going to swear allegiance to those people in particular. And I just think all these people are banal, with very little to no moral center whatsoever. And I think Jimmy Dore's main point, if you get nothing else out of his show, is that do not trust any of them. Do not trust any of them. If you're a smart person, you're more likely to be Democrat. Don't trust them. It doesn't matter what arguments they make if they aren't willing to follow through on them and push policy that helps their constituents.
Does anyone have that comic from that comic artist? The, wow, you want to tear down this old establishment too? Wow, that's crazy. Maybe we're not so different after all. And you have the Nazi and the lefty.
The point of this comic, as I see it, it is valid that even though you both want to tear down the establishment, that you're obviously, once it's torn down, you're going to run into obstacles with each other, and then the vicious cycle is going to begin again. I agree with that. However, if you don't get whoever you need to get together to tear down the establishment, that establishment will remain. And it will continue to fester like an untreated wound. So, which would you rather have? Would you rather have the inherently broken establishment, which leftists claim, rightfully so, was founded on slavery, indentured servitude, and sexism, and all these terrible things? If you want to make the case, no, don't tear this down, you need action. Progressive action from the Democrats right fucking now. You need to surpass the system. You need to get people in the streets, unionizing, and I have not seen any Democrat, to a large part, say that's what we need to do. I've not seen Bernie Sanders call upon his legions of fans, because that would anger the corporate Democrats. That would anger his master, Obama. Obama is massa to Bernie Sanders. I hate to say it. That's where I stand on that. That is why we need to overthrow the establishment and risk, mingling with fascists. But here's the good news. If you think somebody can be brainwashed into Nazism and fascism, you have to believe that they can be brainwashed out of it. That's my response, because I am not responsible, no matter how many fans I have, millions upon millions, I am not responsible for what they think. And I want to make that clear to them. Will you do the same?
This is the narrative that you're going to face, okay? This country's economy and its general infrastructure, one moment, Jesus, are going to get worse with time. They're going to get worse with time, and increasingly radical voices will demand of you sacrifices to push for workers' rights. There will be people telling you, we could have a workers' nation, but you need to drop the BLM shit. You need to drop the trans stuff.
No.
You have to drop the Democrats.
The Democrats, yes. But in case you haven't noticed, VAUSH, the Boogaloo Boys are very much pro-BLM, Black Lives Matter. The Democrats are a whole different beast because the Democrats are the Republicans. Louis Black was making this point back in 2003, for fuck's sake. We've known this for decades, okay? You cannot be this stupid to think that they are not in the same boat, have the same interests, have the same masters, have the same donors!
We could make this country a workers' country. We could rebuild unions. We could rebuild our infrastructure. We could focus on the American family. But what you need to do is drop the identity politics bullshit. And that right there...
No, it's not a matter of need, dude. People all across the spectrum of class, race, they all hate the identity politics. It's literally like a small minority who approves of the fucking hyper identity politics bullshit. Dude, this is like some white people invention off of white guilt. That's what it is, dude. The Latinx, Latinx, do you really think Latino people want to be called that? No, they absolutely do not want to be called that. That is fucking retarded. Identity politics has been used by Hitler. You are literally arguing for a fascist Hitler-esque position. He was the ultimate identity politics guy. And it's been used by the Democrats and the Republicans forever and ever until we do something about it. Identity politics is the enemy. And I'm not one of these guys who says, oh, cancel culture is preventing me from being able to say what I want. Fuck you. I can say whatever the fuck I want. You cannot cancel me because I never shook the hand of the devil. You cannot cancel me for that reason. Because I have never made a deal. I have never signed a contract that I didn't fully read with a fucking microscope.
Is step one towards the camps, okay? Never sacrifice your principles.
Dude, this is communist propaganda right here. Dude, I'm a pro-workers guy. And he's literally arguing against the pro-workers argument that he wants to make, but he wants to do it on his own terms. He wants to do it in a sort of cultural uniformity, not just a class uniformity. The far left, they want cultural uniformity. They want everybody to think the same, and within their class confines, not have any personal disagreements. You are not in touch with reality if you think it's going to go down the way that VAUSH is describing.
The reason they want to do that to you is because it's one component of divide and conquer. And that's what Jimmy Dore does. Jimmy Dore fragments the left by pushing nihilistic, edgy...
Why is everything about the left with you? Why can't it be about the people? Because most people are not on the left. I don't know if you know this, VAUSH. So you're talking about a very vocal minority. Minority. Most people are not on the left. If a Latino person or Native American person happens to disagree with you, all your fucking poverty, you're part of the system now. That's what you're arguing here. After arguing for years and years, I'm sure, of how oppressed they are, all of a sudden when they say, hey, maybe, AOC is not all she's cracked up to be. Oh no, bro, what are you doing?
Down a road where they end up being completely
your mind is in a vacuum,
incompatible
Gosh.
with real progressives. Push them towards inefficacy.
This is
push
straight
them towards
Asperger's playing
counterproductiveness.
out.
Push them towards a disdain and a distrust for progressivism.
Dude, this is pure uncut autism right here. I'm fucking
doesn't call it
believe.
progressivism. He'll call it woke bullshit. He'll call it whatever, lunacy. He'll call it corporate liberalism. There's a million words.
That's what it is. That's what it is, VAUSH. How come all the corporations are pushing this? How come Coca-Cola is pushing the Be Less Black campaign in their employment ranks so that you have a bunch of corny white guys running around going, and all the black guys are like, stop that shit. What the fuck are you doing? It's because it is corporate. You gotta pretend that McDonald's is fighting for justice? Is that the argument you're gonna make? Or how about, what if you just deconverted a fascist? How about that? What if you just listen to their struggle and say, hey, this is black guy has the same thing going on. He's got no job. So why don't you, make out or some shit? I don't fucking know, dude. I'm no political analyst. This guy's definitely an analyst. Fuck off.
And what that does is it effectively neuters a person.
Yuck.
In all respects but one. It neuters a person besides their susceptibility to empty populism. But not just empty populism.
Empty populism?
I mean empty populism. Tim Pool. Populist.
What?
Didn't like Bernie Sanders because Bernie Sanders went woke.
What?
Never trust these people.
Dude, VAUSH is what happens when you let a guy stay in the second grade for 23 years. Drooling toilet bowl head meme. Now you're going to be the reasonable center. And as soon as somebody far to the left of you comes along and says, hey, we got to get into bread lines. No private ownership. VAUSH, your YouTube channel, Not allowed to make money. You're demonetized because you said something once about pedophilia that we didn't like, and you know you did say it. You did say it. I'm not going to bring that up. That's for another video. But he did say that. I'm not sure if he was joking or not. I'm just saying. It's only a matter of time. The left does not understand. They will never get this. That when you try to censor people or try to tell them what they can and can't say, it always backfires. Always backfires, man. Just have your fucking spats, have your arguments, get into a fucking bar fight, Fight Club style, you know, make love, whatever the fuck you have to do. Get your anger out. And then feel bad afterwards. But don't pretend like this conflict isn't natural. You have to be willing to face it. It's a simple strategy of warfare. This is what happened during World War II. We didn't like the Soviet Union, but we said we're going to set that aside so we can defeat Hitler. It's the same principle. You don't like the neo-Nazis? Fine, but they're dumb as fuck. They're malleable. They're highly pliable people. They're desperate for a purpose. You think you can't radicalize them in your direction? You think you can't put them in a room with a couple of black dudes and have them laughing until the day's end? It happens in the real world. Like that guy that Dore had on his show, whatever was the black guy who joined the Klan and deconverted them to the point where they gave him their robes. Like, dude, this Fred Hampton even way back when, just saw that movie about Judaeus and he did the same thing. He went to the Klan and said, hey, we got the same interests. And they didn't like that. So you're fucking fed, VAUSH. You're a fed cocksucker. That's what you are.
The establishment. They're not populists. They're not progressives either. Their only goal is to splinter the left and to get progressive leftists and regressive leftists fighting with each other. And many of the regressive leftists, by the way, are...
Alright, dude, nobody cares about the left. I'm sorry. The left doesn't even exist as far as I'm concerned. Neither does the right. Neither do any of these fucking bullshit. I mean, you can have them if you want. It's like religion. It's like, oh, I'm a Christian. It's like, oh, fine. Who gives a fuck? Who fucking cares? It's like, dude, what are you, though? You're trying to make money off it. That's fine. You want to make money off your little stream channel? Go right ahead. I ain't stopping you. If you actually take the bullshit that's coming out of your mouth seriously, you're in for a rude awakening, buddy. R.I.P. VAUSH.